Welcome to a new episode of Jaw Jacking with James. This is going to be my final rant about the Fallout series for now. And I'm going to do a big old long rant about Fallout 4. And hopefully you're going to notice a distinct change in the audio that you're listening to, because I've been doing a bit of research and watched a few YouTube tutorials on how to improve audio. So hopefully this audio that you're listening to is going to sound better. And moving forward, I'm pushing to make my audio sound a bit better, because I've been listening to some playbacks of my episodes just to, see how I'm doing and how to improve. And I noticed that, even though you can't see it, of me, I'm sitting on my desk upright with my microphone stand and my mouth like 1 inch away from the microphone, and yet it still sounds like I'm sitting on the other side of the room to it. But we're going to fix that. Anywho. This is going to be a long rant about Fallout 4, which is probably the game I've put the most time in all the Fallouts, mostly because it was just, it was a game I was on my PS4, and I just kept playing it and kept doing things in it, kept trying new playthroughs and siding with different factions. And I'm one of those fans that actually enjoyed the settlement building system in the game. Yeah, I actually do enjoy it. There are some fans that don't really like it, but I like it. Settlement building and all the other kind of workstation-like things, so you can make weapon mods or armor mods or clothes modifications in-game, or make consumables or ammunition or whatnot. That's relatively okay. It could use some fine-tuning and improvement, but that's what we have the good old Fallout mod community for, where Bethesda won't do, a mod community will. And that's another great aspect of Fallout 4. It has tons and tons of mods for it that I can just go into the main menu, download the mod, and immediately have it ready. I haven't done too many mods for Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, but I'm sure when I figure out how to put mods into the game, I'm going to try to do it. I don't know if I can with the Steam. I'm pretty sure you can. I just haven't done it yet. But I definitely should, just to improve the game as a whole, because as good as the game is, with it improved, with, all the minor glitches and bugs fixed at that point, it could still use some improvement. But anywho, Fallout 4, let's get on with that. Yeah, I distinctly remember, let me see, I think I just got the regular edition. Yeah, I got the regular edition for it. I also was in anticipation when they did the reveal trailer, where it had the counter, and it was revealed of the Fallout 4 trailer. That was a really great time back when they did the reveal for it, and it was pretty exciting for me, and I was very excited to play a new experience with the next gen graphics using the same old engine. That's another thing. They're still using the same Curation Club engine, and it's like, why couldn't they do that in the other two games? But apparently you can. It's just Bethesda didn't want to. How could you, Todd? How could you? But just going into the game, I was, I'm trying to remember my first playthrough here. I can remember aspects of my first playthrough for Fallout 3 and New Vegas, but Fallout 4, I just, right out of the gate, was just a little bit lost in it. But one thing that does always stand out to me is I didn't fully grasp the settlement building and how to keep raiders and attackers out of the settlement for a little while, and it took me a while to learn that you can connect walls. Yeah, that took a while to remember, and that you can take items that you have stored in your settlement. And it's in the settlement's workshop inventory. You can take them out and then re-put them back in, and it gives you more space in your settlement. And it took me a while to, learn what to get in order to build modifications for the guns I had in game, because usually I would just grab whatever gun I took off an enemy that was slightly better than mine and use that until I found a slightly better gun than that. So it took a little while. I had to watch several. I had to watch several Let's Plays, as it will, and keep looking on the Fallout wiki to figure it out, because I was just like, no, we're not going to do this again. I'm going to learn how to do it right. But there is one thing I've always remembered, and it always stuck with me, because I had to die and redo it and redo it and then redo it again. The mission, take back the castle for the Minutemen. I always found this one instance where you have to fight the Myler Queen, and what's the quest called again? Oh, yeah, taking Independence. Yeah, the whole quest for that. It was just, we were fighting the Mirelurks and blowing up the eggs, and there's the part where the Mirelurk Queen comes out of the water and attacks, and I didn't know that at first, and I basically had to use any and every weapon I had at my disposal. And for people that have played the game, you'll notice that the area around the castle, it has like a O thing, like there's the castle, then a strip of land, and then it goes around, and then in the middle there's basically a body of water that's separate from it, and basically I fought the Myler Queen by shooting and going around in a circle in that area. I want to say it could have been like a dozen times of me just shooting it, dying, reloading, shooting it, running around, quickly healing, just throwing everything I had at it, and eventually I had the winning strategy, and I was able to beat it. And after that, I did a big reset on how I dealt with things, and I actually went through with getting resources by getting as many scrap items as possible, and relearning how to do everything so that wouldn't happen again. And now in every preceding playthrough, I know exactly what to do. I make sure to have at least 5 to 10 or more grenades with me, a rocket launcher, I make sure to connect the settlements, to a point where all I have to do is take the castle and connect it, and it's one of my main connecting the northern settlements to the southern settlements kind of settlement, because it segues into from where it is. I connect it to Jamaica Plain, which is the next settlement, and then I work my way down to all of the southern settlements in the Commonwealth. Let me back up a little bit. Let's see. Where do I start when you explain Fallout 4? Ugh. There's something that is just hard to explain. Let's see. Basically, you are pre-war. That's why you're called the sole survivor. And basically, the whole first 10 minutes of the game is you pre-war with you, your wife, and your baby, Sean, and your servant robot, Codsworth. And basically, you are this is pre-war. Pre the bombs falling down on everybody and killing everyone and plunging the world into a nuclear apocalyptic wasteland of constant hell. But the first 10 minutes is just you being there, and then the fateful, the alarms go, and the bombs are falling, and you have the TV's on and the radio's on, but then it's, it warns it's happening. And then you get to the vault. Ooh, excuse me. You get to the vault, and because of the shock of being through a dramatic event, Vault takes advantage of that and says, "Oh, you're just going into these sanitation tanks. They're not sanitation tanks, by the way. They're cryo tanks. They freeze you. And, you're frozen for almost 200 years, but you're briefly woken up because a mysterious man and two other mysterious people steal your baby. Comes in handy later. And, then you're refrozen, and then you're unfrozen again to escape the vault, and you start your journey. You later find out that the Institute, the main villain of the game, was they needed uncontaminated genetics from a human baby, so they could start their synth program for the Gen 3 synths. And you actually are your player, which is either the male or female, mom or dad, Nate or Nora. You find out that you haven't been frozen for just the second time you're refrozen. It hasn't been a few years. It's actually been in excess of another 60 or so years. So you find that all much later in the game, but here you're finding out that you've been the initial shock is that you've been frozen for 210 years, give or take. Because when you get back to Sanctuary Hills, your old neighborhood, the only person there is Codsworth, your robot, and he's been waiting all that time. And from there, you can, after the initial quest around the town, neighborhood, you basically have your starting settlement, Sanctuary Hills, which is, for me, has always been my home, my base home, and, whenever something new happens with the settlements, I experiment there first, a new item for the settlements comes up, I experiment there, and then I bring it to the other settlements at will. But for me, I always try and I start the quest it wants you to start, where you meet the last of the Minutemen, Preston Garvey, and start the Minutemen playthrough. I remember my first playthrough, I sided with the Brotherhood of Steel just because I wanted to see. I just love seeing the Brotherhood, and I love them as a faction. They're a little rough around the edges in Fallout 4, and Arthur Maxon's kind of an asshole. Well, he is an asshole. He's, it's one of those things that kind of bugs me. But as a whole, I still like the Brotherhood of Steel, and seeing Liberty Prime and seeing them in a substantially more sign of power and control from where they used to be really shows the evolution of the faction. Although I find it funny how they would send a majority of their forces to the Commonwealth, but they just don't have enough to hold their original holdings from Fallout. From Fallout 3, they're in the Capital Wasteland, and from some things you hear is that it's not great there. But at the same time, like, wouldn't the Brotherhood keep a sizable garrison there as they're going into the Commonwealth, and then build a garrison in the Commonwealth, and then head back to the original base, and then work out a kind of, rotation system or whatnot, because they are a quasi-military, heavily militarized faction, so, they would work that out, but that's just, a nitpick with me. In some other playthroughs, I've usually just done the Minutemen one, and I've done the other Minutemen quest where, you don't find out that one of your favorite companion characters is a synth, and that's, Paladin Dance. Apparently he's been a synth that whole time, but, even when he finds out he's a synth, he still wants to be a member of the Brotherhood, which I can understand the xenophobia of the Brotherhood, but at the same time, it's like they've accepted cyborgs into their ranks, or they've made people cybernetically enhanced. Allegedly, Arthur Maxon has been cybernetically enhanced, like he's got implants, but it's just one of those things. It's like that's how the Brotherhood is, and that's just what they do. And it's one of the more, like, you guys aren't going to, like, think this through. But regardless, it's always, there were some bad decisions made with how they treated the Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout 4. They're a lot more traditional to what they were in New Vegas, and Fallout 3, has their splintering because they, are a bit, they choose to help the people instead of just having technology. But it makes more sense in Fallout 3 than it does in Fallout 4, but I'm just getting ahead of myself here. Let me think here. I also like the Minutemen. They're another one of those grassroots kind of for the people kind of movement and a faction, but they are woefully under-equipped, and with some mods, they get substantially better. Like they actually have combat armor and actually decent weapons, because if they're not modded, all they have is shitty guns and some muskets, laser muskets, which are like, after like the first 5 levels, becomes an inferior, unrealistic weapon, and it's cool for the novelty for like 10 minutes. Then it becomes a problem because it's very limited in what it can do. It's like you get one good, decent shot in there, and then after that you have to wind it up, try to get another shot. That's why it's not very good for like close quarters combat or anything like that. It's basically a weapon to to stay behind cover and get that maybe 1 to 2 shot, much like a ordinary musket, but this is a laser musket. They're an okay gun, but they're not good long term or late game. They're just awful. I don't like them. Same thing with like the at low levels you're introduced to the pipe weapons, the pipe pistols, pipe revolvers, rifles. They're very moddable, and you can switch them from a pistol to a rifle to a submachine gun to a sniper rifle, and they take all the common ammunition, but after a while they become they just become a hindrance, and unless they have a legendary weapon effect that's in the game, they're pretty much useless. After a little while in the game, I tend to just use them as material. I scrap them and use the metal for anything I need, and that's pretty much all they are to me. After a while, they just become components for other weapons or to help the settlement out, because they're not very useful at all. That's just my personal take. And another thing I do is I take everything off my fallen enemies. I loot everything off them. That's just RPG Rules 101. Take everything and anything off your enemy. It might be useful later. That's something I do. Super mutants or raiders or gunners, I go in, clear the place out, and then anything that's not nailed down to the floor I take and, redistribute to the people of the Commonwealth, as it will. That's something I always do. It's fun for me, not for the raiders, mutants, and gunners, and any other, like, annoying faction that gets in your way. And, that's something I always do when I'm, wandering the wastes of the Commonwealth. And what's next? Oh, the railroad. Yeah, they're a mentioned faction in Fallout 3, but here you get to see them firsthand. They're okay as a faction, but they're not something I put a lot of salt into. I use them to get like some benefits, and some things are useful, but in terms of them being like the main faction I always side with, I usually don't, and I've done 2 playthroughs where the Brotherhood eliminates them, and I'm like, meh. But I do playthroughs where they don't get completely wiped out and destroyed. I usually like to keep them around for mostly just I like their store, their Tinker Tom character who sells you stuff. I like to keep him around. He's fun. And Deacon, one of the optional companions I have. I really like Deacon. He's funny as hell. I love him. Let me think. The main bad guys, as it will, which are basically just underground nerds with robots who have a superiority complex. Yeah, that's the Institute. They think they're better than everyone, but they're doing just as much indifferent, but also outright evil things. And they even admit they are. They're just saying, oh, yeah, well, we're scientists, so we're doing the right thing. I'm like, if the Legion from Fallout New Vegas can explain why it's doing what it's doing better to a point where I'm like, okay, I can understand that. When the guys who do blatant slavery, crucify people, murder people, uh, have basically a slave army. If you're not a capable warrior, you're enslaved. Uh, Slavery, murder, and being just a massive menace to an entire regional area of the United States. If I can I understand why their motives better than basically a small scientific community that has superior technology, and the alleged, a bunch of tribal slaves that have been formed in the army have a better explanation of what they do and why they do it than the people that are actually alleged scientists. Yeah, that tells me like the Institute, shouldn't be left unattended as it will, because they're gonna be a problem. And honestly, I keep them around just long enough in game just to get all the benefits. And there are a few legendary weapons they have that you need to get. And there are a few minor like side quests they have that are kind of funny. And I like to do those just because, they're funny to me. Like there's this one part where you have to find super mutant DNA for them, and another side quest where you help at the Warwick homestead to improve the crop yield. And there's this one part where your voice, your character does a dorky voice to one of the Institute scientists and makes a old school, maybe we should get decoder rings and have our decoder rings synced. And the scientist actually thinks it's a good idea, even though you're doing the sarcastic option. He's like, decoder rings, that's actually a good idea. And I always thought that was funny. Like, you're actually joking and antagonizing the guy about secrecy when, on the surface. And he actually likes your idea of decoder rings. If you don't know what decoder rings are, basically they're a ring, a coin kind of thing, with two rotating sides on it that are in two rings. And you get told to set it to a certain thing. Like there's letters and numbers, and you set it to a certain way, and you get read off numbers, and then you decode it with those numbers, and it gives you a secret message. A perfect example of a decoder ring being seen is there's one part in A Christmas Story where Ralphie gets a decoder ring from a radio program, and he goes into the bathroom to decode his message, and it's that of course is also hilarious, but that's just an example of that. For the holidays, I should probably do a review of A Christmas Story. It's something I need to do. Anyway, side note, getting sidetracked. Let me think. Those are the four main factions that are in Fallout 4. Let me think. There's also the side and others minor antagonistic factions. Of course you got your raiders. There's always raiders, with one caveat being that There are raider leaders, and the more of the more of the raider leaders you kill, other raiders will mention like, "Oh, that guy's is dead," and "Oh no, he's dead," and yeah, they like the more of them you kill, the more get mentioned in other terminals with other raider leaders, and I think the biggest one is Bosco. He's a crazy raider leader who wears a mascot helmet as a hat, and he's at a school, and he basically has the biggest gang in all of the Commonwealth. And that's about it for those raiders. They're mostly just things that get in the way and are annoying to me after a certain level. Like once you're over level, once you're at level like 60 and above, they just are annoying. Until you get to do the DLC Nuke World, and the raiders there are a lot more deadly, but the ones in the Commonwealth are, like, after a certain level, they're just annoying. They're just annoying. Then there's the super mutants. The super mutants are a bit different in that they act more like raiders than they do like super mutants. 'Cause the super mutants in like Fallout 3, they captured people so they could transform with the FEV VATS into more super mutants. So their whole thing was capturing people to, protract their numbers and increase their numbers, because super mutants are sterile. But super mutants in Fallout 4 are more just trying to set up a life, and they have more raider-esque activity. And as it turns out, all the super mutants in the Commonwealth are because of the Institute. That's another mark against the Institute. They experiment on people, then release them back up on the surface as super mutants, and the super mutants don't know what to do, so they band together like super mutants do, and they just kind of cut out a life for themselves. And it's even mentioned through dialogue that they are, they're basically thrown up here, don't know what to do, so they band together and do what super mutants usually do, because they don't know anything else. With only like 2 exceptions to the super mutants in Fallout 4. There's Strong, who's actually a pretty fun companion, and another companion called Erickson, but he's in the Far Harbor DLC. He's another great super mutant. It's, on the individual level, but it also helps to, because the super mutants look kind of odd. Like, they don't look like the super mutants in Fallout 3 in New Vegas. So, of course, I added a mod to make them look a bit more like their Fallout 3 versions, where they're kind of a yellowish green instead of just like a pale green. And it really helps. They look a lot better that way. They definitely stand out more. Let me think. Oh, the Gunners. The Gunners are basically like your organized military mercenary kind of faction, and after a certain time, they also just become annoying, and you just get them so you can get decent armor and combat armor off them. That's basically what I use them for. If one of my settlements needs combat armor and, decent weapons, like some laser rifles, assault rifles, and plasma rifles, whatnot, I usually, go to one of the many gunner bases, clean a house, and then, hey, my settlement has a whole bunch of combat armor now. Yay! That's what I do. And several of them respawn, so, you have every few days a new supply of weapons and armor for your settlements, and for yourself, too. Plus, you get XPs, ammo. Sometimes there's always a legendary among them, and get yourself a legendary weapon or armor, but it's one of those things where, like, one of the new systems in Fallout 4, the legendary system, is occasionally you'll find enemies that have the legendary status to them, and every time they get to a certain amount of their health down, their health regenerates because they mutate, and you have to refight them. They're kind of like mini bosses, but the legendary effect kind of it affects all creatures in Fallout 4. So there are legendary humans, legendary robots, legendary mutants, raiders. Everybody has a legendary version of themselves. And occasionally you can get yourself like one of the best legendary weapons or armor, like one that improves whole stats or is just it like amplifies everything you do, or you get a weapon like the best effects are like the 2-shot weapon effect or the explosion effect or the higher chance of doing 30% damage. I think there's also the frozen legendary effect, and sometimes you get like the worst gun or piece of armor possible, like a piece of Raider shoulder armor that makes lockpicking 15% better. Like, wow, thanks. And sometimes you get legendary creatures, like a legendary rad roach, and you kill them before they even go legendary. And sometimes, it's up to chance whether you get a good legendary weapon or armor. But I don't hate the legendary system. It's just sometimes it's like, was it even the point? And sometimes every once in a while you'll fight a legendary enemy, and you'll kill them before the random legendary weapon spawns on them. And that's always a pain in the ass. So it's like I killed a legendary enemy for nothing. But that's the way it goes. But one thing I will say is that I would like it if like you could figure out a way to improve like how your luck works. You have the higher chance of getting a better legendary weapon or armor depending on how your luck is. I think they should have implemented that. But maybe we'll see it in Fallout 5 better implemented. I know it's still implemented in Fallout 76, but I haven't played that game, and nor will I ever play that game. Ever. Because, it's like... Well, I won't even go into it, but, I was, like, kind of, like, half interested in seeing a new Fallout game, but when I saw what they were making, it's like... You guys tried to make a online-only Fallout game in which I always have to be online, and the game, shocker, was not capable of doing it. Who knew? But that is a story for another day. We won't go into it, even though it pisses me off to no end. But I'll never play Fallout 76. If they pay me to, I still wouldn't do it. Maybe, it depends how much they pay. Anyway, oddly enough, the one of the factions that's from Fallout 76, the Responders, you can actually get a mod for Fallout 4, so you don't have to play that game, and you can just have them in Fallout 4, which actually works out a lot better. In terms of like, it has 5, like Fallout 4 has 5 DLC DLCs with it. The Combustion, Voltec Workshop, the Automatron DLC, and then there's the two actual bigger DLCs, Far Harbor and Nuka World. I will say I do like what the two minor ones add, like the Contraption DLC. Oh wait, what's it called? It wasn't called that. It was called something else. Where is it? Let's see. Automatron, the Wasteland Workshop, the Contraptions. Yeah, the Wasteland and Contraptions kind of just adds more crap that you can build with. Automatron's actually has a story, brief, but it's a story. And the Voltec Workshop actually has a minor story. But the bigger ones are your Far Harbor and your Nuka World. I mean, Far Harbor is a giant map area of an island up in Maine, and that is a very, very good experience, and I think it's one of the best DLCs that Bethesda has made. And then the other one, Nuka World, which is basically it's a Nuka-Cola's, like the big soda in the wasteland. Well, this is kind of a parody of Disney World, but Nuka-Cola themed, so it's also good. Could have used a bit more story, but I'll take what I can get. It was still fun, though I would have liked more to do and more locations, and maybe have a slightly bigger map. Kind of on the level of what Far Harbor is, because Far Harbor is, I think, one of the best DLCs they released, and Nuka-Cola is a second, followed by the Voltec, then the Automatron, and then the Wasteland and Contraptions are like at the bottom. Like, they add more stuff, which is good, but there's no quest to it or anything like that. But that's regardless of that. Let me think here. What else can we talk about? One of my newer playthroughs, because I'm doing it on my computer now, because for some reason my copy of Fallout 4 on my PS4, I can't play it. I don't know what's going on, but one day I tried to, I reset my game to do a new playthrough, and for some reason on my PS4, no matter what I do, I reset things, try to do it, or I turn off mods. It doesn't work. I turn back on the mods, then I turn on select mods. I don't know what's going on with it, but for some reason, my PS4 will not play Fallout 4. It crashes every time I start talking to Preston when they're in the Museum of History. I don't know. I guess it's just the script is just broken for some reason. I mean, I tried a few different methods, but I still get stuck. And the farthest I've gone is I gotten past talking to Preston, and then for some reason I can't go into the next room to go on the roof. It won't let me. I don't know. So that's why I was like, all right. So I went on my Steam account and bought discounted Fallout 4 with all the DLCs plus the high texture update, and it works way better now. But let me think. It has. I'm just doing a double check here. Yeah, basically I have, got it cheaper than when I bought it, day of release. That was a good day for me. Like, I just went right to GameStop. No, wait, I remember now. I pre-ordered it, and was like, got the season pass and everything, because I was like, I'm committed to this game. And when I went to GameStop, I got the game, and I didn't know if I got anything else, but yeah, I think it was just get the game, go home, and play it. It was a good time, a simpler time, before all the bullshit started happening with the gaming industry that we're dealing with now. But that's another story completely that I might talk about. But it's funny that as much as I love Fallout 4, it still has a shit ton of problems. Like, I had to get a better computer just to play Fallout. Like, I used to be playing on my gaming laptop, and my laptop was just going at like 1 frame per second while playing. So I, a couple years ago, finally got myself a small tower gaming computer used, but it was definitely worth it. The only thing I had to do was I had to replace the RAM in it, because the RAM that it came with was just not going to do it. Like, I re-uploaded everything and re-downloaded everything, and it said, "Oh, or you're out of memory." I'm like, really? So I had to take a trip to, Best Buy at that time, and do an install, replace it, and then with my laptop, watch some videos on how to reinstall Windows onto the computer, because it became like a blank system at that point. So learned how to do that, learned how to take apart and put back together a computer, and it's fun. It's fun for me, because I was actually learning hands-on, and that's how I like to learn. And since then, I've added some external memory to it. That way it can process all the crap I download on a regular basis, But, with all the great things I love about Fallout, the biggest problem with it is the, glitches and bugs that have always plagued it. And, I'm not going to say I don't have times where I'm like, really? You're going to crash now? Thank God for the autosave option and, exit saves and being able to reset from your previous save. But, yeah, my biggest gripe with Fallout is the slowing frame rate, glitches, bugs. Sometimes, at random, it'll just crash, and sometimes it doesn't do the common courtesy of just exiting to my desktop. It just crashes and freezes, and I have to reset my whole computer manually and start from where I left off like 10 minutes later, because, sometimes it takes a while for the computer to get unbethesda'd, as it will, so it can function normally again. But that's just my thing. But when you have to add a whole bunch of mods to your game in order to make the game better, there's going to be some technical issues. But at the same time, like, we're at a point in time where it's just like, shouldn't bugs and glitches be a thing of the past at this point? I mean, it's 2024 as of recording. Come on. We're supposed to be in the future. Shouldn't things be better? I don't know. I'm just bitching to bitch at that point. But, yeah, I do highly recommend Fallout 4 for Fallout fans. Regular players, might not necessarily always like the acquired taste that is the Fallout fandom, but with the release of the show, there's been an uptick. It's ironic because I'm just like, I've been playing this game even before the Fallout show came out. But the show's nothing but good for the franchise as a whole, and some loose reports say, from news articles say that because of the success of the show, Bethesda's going to accelerate doing Fallout 5, which they should have done instead of that piece of shitty shit that's called Starfield. God damn, that fucking game sucked balls. I mean, I pre-ordered it. $70. $70 fucking dollars. And, I have it downloaded, and I'm playing it on a work night just to get some playtime in it. And, I swear, the game never went over like 30 frames per second. And it's also funny, its controls were similar to Fallout 4. Like, to activate the flashlight was... I'm using an Xbox controller. It's the same control for the flashlight in Fallout 4. And, I thought I was going to have a whole thing, I named my character Buzz Lightyear Jr. I even made him look like Buzz Lightyear, kind of. And you start playing the game, and it's always slow. And I was always trying to. The only thing that was minorly fun was the space combat, but even that got boring quick. And then exploring a planet, like, the planet never got fun. And the NPCs never got fun. Like, nobody was interesting. Everything was bland. Everything. And, like, the color skews and the environments, like, everything was very bland and subdued. Like, there was I felt no excitement in exploration, which is something that's, quintessential with Bethesda games, is the exploration and environmental storytelling and, just exploring and finding things that you normally wouldn't. And, I wasn't getting that. And I, immediately, got a refund and left a scathing review, and then I find out all the other dumb shit that was, behind the scenes, and I'm like, oh, that's why this game sucked. I mean, when the mod community gives up on a game, the game's terrible. But that's what soured me to it, and then I was just like, well, at least I still have the Fallout games that are good. All 3 of them. And Fallout Shelter, which is fun when I go to the bathroom, because I play it while I'm going to the bathroom. Yep. Anyway, let's see, how long did this rant go? Oh, almost an hour. Almost. So, but I would highly recommend Fallout 4. It's a good game. It has a lot of problems, but all Bethesda games have problems. That's kind of their thing. They're good, but we still play them anyway, even with all their faults. Like an old family car. It still gets you there, even though there's a lot of problems with it. Like the air conditioner doesn't work, and a rat lives in it. But it still gets you there. It still gets you there, and the radio works. But we'll see if they can do Fallout 5 right in the next installment. Maybe not make it suck, But honestly, from someone who's been playing for so long, it's good to have a good computer to play it on, or whatever console you wish to have, and download as many mods as possible to, fix all of the other issues with the with the game itself, because there's a few unofficial mods that fix a lot of glitches that are in the game, like a lot, and those unofficial mod fixes are definitely worth it, just for ease of play and quality of life in game, like improved weather effects, water effects. NPCs don't do stupid shit. Well, they do less stupid shit, but they still do stupid shit sometimes, and certain things don't get disabled or whatnot. But yeah, definitely, if you have the time, play Fallout 4, and hopefully we'll have more Fallout things for me to talk about. Maybe one day in the future, maybe I'll do a short one on Fallout Shelter. But in the meantime, I'll start moving on to other topics, so we have more short video content, as opposed to all these long form content, video audios. Eventually, I'd like to go to video podcasting, but my little webcam has terrible video. I don't know how to fix that, but I'll figure it out eventually. I just want to thank, personally, listener, the person who is listening. I want to thank you for sticking around here. If you made it this far, could you give me a follow? Share me around. I added all my socials, so give me a follow, give me a like, and that'll help me motivate to do more wonderful videos like this. Have a good day. So long, so soon, and sayonara.